So this morning, one of my daughters was up early. And in fact, I assumed it was kind of during the middle of the night, but I didn't check the time, so I think it was actually like 5 o'clock or something. But anyway, so I needed to help her, and so once we got that all done, and then it was time to go back to sleep, but I'd already been helping her, and so I was like, okay, so I listened to some, and so I listened to a sermon by Bill Johnson on focus. So my thoughts today are not really a critiquing of the sermon particularly. I think it was a good sermon. My questions, I guess I kind of have, I don't know if I have a very elegant theory on focus. So, it would seem, I guess in theory, like, it's like, well, if you focus on the most important thing, in theory or ideally, that translates into everything else kind of taking care of itself, right? So if I love God, serve Him, everything else take care of itself. And I think that's like kind of largely true. And it's, I guess where I'm coming from is not so much that I'm doubting the importance of having God as a primary focus in my life. Not at all. But what I'm wondering about is whether this idea of a singular focus, how much of that is genuinely possible or feasible, and how much of it is like, it's nice in theory, but in practice I have to also focus on my work, I need to focus on my family. If I want any hobbies, I need to focus on my hobbies too. So I don't know. I think that some of the great businesses have been built by people who were incredibly focused. Or at least by their telling of it, they were, I suppose. Maybe that's not the same thing as actually being incredibly focused. So I don't know. I just kind of have questions about whether it's possible to be, like, how possible it is to be singularly focused and what that looks like in practice. And whether a somewhat fragmented focus is sort of just the practical nature of life, as we know it. But anyway, this was going to be more of a questions rather than an answer session here. So maybe if you can answer that question for me, put it in the comments.